one of the things for me is when it comes to coaching is a couple things. Number one, putting them in position to make plays. That's number one. Number two is getting them to run through a brick wall with me and not for me. Because I'm going to be the first one to run through the brick wall. I'm going to lead the charge. And then after that, show them that I love them. You can't go to war with these men unless you show them that you love them. Other than that, it won't work.
Everybody, what be going on, man? It's your boy Q, aka Uncle Quan. Welcome back to the channel with another film breakdown. All thanks to you guys. You guys voted once again on the channel, and I appreciate you guys for doing that. We are here to talk about our guy, Miles Sanders, y'all. This is a guy I'm super excited to break down. But before you get into it, man, go ahead and slap that like button while you are here. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video to this amazing channel, man. We are growing steadily, and I appreciate you guys for being a part of this family, man. Miles Sanders is a guy who's heavily disregarded because of the talent surrounding him in Philadelphia. Now, we all know about that crazy offensive line of Philadelphia that opened up the lanes for Miles Sanders to run through. We all know about Devontae Smith. We know about AJ Brown, all those weapons that surrounded him. So because of those weapons around him, Miles Sanders was not necessarily the primary threat in Philadelphia. He was even splitting carries with guys like Boston Scott and Spencer Gainwell over there too. So he wasn't the primary threat, but still had a very productive year in Philadelphia. His best of his career as far as the ground game, with 1,269 yards on the ground and 11 touchdowns. Now, this is a guy that's not necessarily flashy, but he's very productive. Can give you those gritty yards. He can create yards for himself. And now I know people, a lot of the times, they disregard him being able to run without an offensive line. That is not true. I'm gonna give you this stat line. 651 of those yards came from yards after contact. So what does that mean? 51% of his carries out of that 1,269 yards that he had in Philadelphia in 2022, that came from after contact. So with the blocks that the line may have missed, he was able to create those yards, create something out of nothing. This is a guy who can get in and out of his cuts very quickly, very good with change of direction, and can lower his shoulder to create extra yards. If you guys take a look at the episode 2 of the Blueprint, this is a guy that was heavily recruited by our staff. Our staff was banging the table for him, especially Scott Fittery.
I love Miles Sanders. You guys only 25? Philly afford to bring him back?
Now, I'm super excited to see him reunited with Deuce Staley, his running back coach, as a rookie in Philadelphia in 2019. In 2019, Miles Sanders had a much more productive role in that offense. They used him not only in the ground game, but also through the air. And we all know by now, Bryce Young liked to use his running backs when it comes to that security blanket if the receivers are not open. In 2019, Miles Sanders had over 500 receiving yards and over 800 yards on the ground. That's pretty damn good for a rookie quarterback or for a rookie running back. With Miles Sanders being reunited with Deuce Staley, I'm looking for him to have a much bigger role here in Carolina, to be able to take the pressure off our rookie quarterback, to be able to open up those lanes in the ground game, to basically open up the pass game as well. If the defense is threatened by our running game, that's going to open up a lot more passing lanes, a lot more one-on-ones on the outside, and I'm looking forward to having Miles Sanders here in Carolina. Of course, Miles Sanders will have a much bigger role here in Carolina, and he will be the primary back. He's a 3-down back. He's a bruiser. He can get those gritty yards, make something out of nothing like we talked about already. Now let's go ahead and talk about our guy Miles Sanders. Let's go ahead and get into this film breakdown. Let's get it. All right, guys, before we get into this film breakdown, I got to shout out my guy, Cardiac Cat 87. He was the one who suggested that I get into this new app that I invested in. Well, it's not necessarily new, but it's new to me. NFL Plus allows me to get access to film study and film breakdowns from the coach's perspective. That actually helps us get a better look and a better view from the defense and the offense perspective, instead of just having a broadcast view. With the broadcast view, we're very limited to what we can see on the field. So again, shout out to my guy Cardiac Cat 87. All right, guys, so we talked about the shiftiness and the quick change of direction and the vision by Miles Sanders. So let's see it on display right here. I'm gonna let this play run real quick, and then we're gonna talk about it as we look at this play. All right, handoff, look like an off tackle. So let's take a look at these steps that he's taking. All right, let's let it run. He plants his foot in the ground very quickly and was still able to run to that edge very quickly. So let it run again one more time. He freezes up Hutchinson on the other side of the defense, man. Watch Hutchinson, the guy on the edge right here at the end. Watch him real quick. We're going to let it run. freezes him up with that quick step and then bounces right back outside. Now, this is not a necessarily flashy play, but he was still able to create that something out of nothing, exactly like we talked about. Right, just like we talked about, fam, he is able to create something out of nothing. So I'm going to let this play run, and I'm going to let you guys see for yourself before we talk about it. All right. You see the lineman, he misses his assignment right here, and he's still fighting for those extra gritty yards. I'm going to let it run real quick again, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to try to slow this thing down. I'm using the MacBook, so it's kind of hard to slow these videos down. Take a look at this tight end right here. He misses his assignment. This linebacker is wide open by himself. Now, Miles Sanders recognizes that quickly, and he plants his foot in the ground and was able to quickly shift to that outside. I'm going to let it run. Boom. Makes him miss, makes another guy miss with that change of direction, breaking the arm tackle and creating that extra yards for himself. Again, this is a guy who can create something out of nothing, even when his offensive line was not able to block for him. All right, guys, moving on to the next play. If you guys take a look at this play, I'm going to let it run real quick. This is a guy, if you create the lanes for him, if you block for him, he can make something happen, man. He can be very explosive coming out of that backfield. So I'm going to let this play run real quick. All right, you see Kelsey, he's the pulling guard. And again, that burst of speed is everything that you're going to see and everything that you're going to need out of this offense to take that pressure off our rookie quarterback. All right, guys, I want you to take a look at their center, Kelsey. Kelsey throws an amazing block as he's pulled to the right side of this play right here. So take a look at it. Let it run real quick. I'm going to try to slow it down. So this allows Miles Sanders to run and follow his block. And as soon as he sees that lane, he's able to explode right through that lane. So create the lanes for him, block for him, and he can make the explosive plays happen. Follows that block and gets plenty of yards after that block, man. That's moving on to this game against Jacksonville. Let's let this play run real quick. I want you to take a look at his change of direction and the way he's able to come in and out of his cuts. Creates the lane for himself. Watch this. Look how he finds that lane so quickly and able to change his whole entire direction to run through that wide open lane. Watch this again. All right, so it looks like they're running like a read option. Jalen Hurts hands it off to Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders recognizes quickly that outside is not open. And then he immediately changes his direction, put his foot in the ground, and finds that wide open lane right down the middle and makes that D tackle miss his arm tackle. Let it run again. All right. Running that read option. Sees the wide open lane. And he hits it. He hits the hole very quickly. Right, guys, moving on to the bad of Miles Sanders. Now, Miles Sanders is more so of a patient running back. He's able to follow his blocks to allow them to create those lanes. Yes, he can create something out of nothing, but not every single down. So this is a perfect example of his patient running and how it can be a curse. All right. So he's trying to be patient right here, but he gets caught by the offensive line very quickly. So that can be a curse. He's going to have to be more explosive coming out of that backfield. Otherwise, you're giving people time to catch you. Great job by this D tackle to get that outside handout too. All right, guys, this is a perfect example of how Miles Sanders can be used out of the backfield through the air attack. So we already talked about Bryce Young and how he's able to use his running backs. He loves to go to his running backs when nothing is open as a security blanket. So let's let this play run and we'll talk about it. All right, so take a look at Miles Sanders coming out of this backfield. He runs an angle route, plants his foot to change his directions. The ball is thrown slightly behind him, and he's still able to adjust and get that yak, man. So let it run again. Everybody's playing zone coverage. Everybody backs off. The linebackers backs off to give Miles Sanders plenty of room to run right in front of him and create his own lanes. Let it run one more time. Jalen Hurts finds that angle route. Miles Sanders, he turns it up. And he hits that burst of speed right here. So I love this play right here. This is a perfect example of how he's going to be used in that backfield coming out of the pass game. All right, guys, this is another example of Miles Sanders and how he's able to follow his blocks, how he has very quick vision and very quick shifts of direction and very shifty. He can find those open lanes, that slight crease very quickly, and he can explode right through them. So let's take a look at it real quick. Follows the pulling guard. That's an easy touchdown for him. That's easy. He follows Kelsey. Kelsey throws a nice block. Again, this crease right here, this is not a lot of room to run through, but Miles Sanders still lowers that shoulder and get right through that hole. Easy money, easy touchdown. So he doesn't need a lot of room to run through, but he just give him that tiny crease and he can run right through it. Pause. All right, guys, this is another example of Miles Sanders being very productive in that passing game once again. Let's let this play run real quick. So Miles Sanders runs to the flat, catches the ball right in front of him, quick turnaround, makes a lot of guys miss, and able to create that yards for himself, create something out of nothing. He should have been stopped as soon as he caught the ball, so let's let it run again. All right, runs to the flat. Defense does a good job of coming and breaking down on this, but Miles Sanders puts his foot in the dirt, changes his directions really fast, makes one guy miss, makes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys miss in the same play. Let's let it run one more time without doing all the rewinding and shit, man. Let's let it run. Coming out of that flat. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, 7 guys missed. All right, guys, moving on to another example of how he's able to use that quick shift of direction to freeze up the defense. Look at all these yards that he's getting from the line of scrimmage, y'all. Let's take another look at it real quick from another angle. All right, the defense pretty much know where this run is going. Even with them knowing where the run is going, they still weren't able to stop this run. Look at 23 right here. 23 does not step up. He just freezes right here. He waits on Miles Sanders to come to him. That's where he fucked up. So watch it again. Miles Sanders puts his foot in the dirt, and I mean, he freezes up the defender and gets those yards, man. Quick yards, easy money. Let it run one more time. If you're going to come up and have to stop the run, you're going to have to step up. You cannot wait on Miles Sanders to come to you. Otherwise, he will make you pay for it, and he did right here. This is a perfect example of what he's able to do with that quick shift of direction when he's able to plant that foot in the ground and he's able to get that yard. All right, guys, let's look at this example of a short yard situation right here. So if we need like a 3rd and 2, maybe a 2nd down and maybe 3 yards to go, we need a 1st down right here. So Miles Sanders can show you from time to time that he is a bruiser back as well. He can lower his shoulder and he can fight for those extra yards. I know a lot of people say we needed to sign another running back. You got Ezekiel Elliott out there, Kareem Hunt. People are screaming for us to get like a bruiser running back. But Miles Sanders throughout the year has shown you that he can be a bruiser running back as well. So let's take a look at this play. Let's let it run. All right. So right here, there is nothing there. But he creates something out of nothing. This is an example of his offensive line breaking down. So let's take a look at it right here. Watch how his blocks breaks down. Miles Sanders should be stopped right here. Look at this guy, how he has his outside arm on this this block right here. So when you got your outside arm open, you pretty much are not blocked. So let's take another look at it. Miles Sanders recognizes that very quickly, and he has another guy that's supposed to stop him right here. He should be stopped right here. This should be a tackle for loss. But Miles Sanders plants his foot in that dirt and changes his direction with his body and was still able to create something out of nothing. Breaking another tackle. Breaks 2 tackles before he's able to get that extra yards. Again, do not take his talent away because you think he had an amazing offensive line. Yes, he did have an amazing offensive line in Philly. But right here, he shows you he can get those yards by himself as well. Look at that. Easy 1st down. This is a short yard situation. One more time. Making guys miss, lowering his shoulder and getting those extra yards, falling forward to get that 1st down, man. All right, guys, this is another example of a short yard situation right here. He can get that 1st down. Now, what Philly does right here, they use their receiver in motion to kind of distract the defense. You see Devontae Smith, who's a big threat in this league, who comes in motion, causing the defense to have to get their attention on him. And this opens up a lane for Miles Sanders to run through. Now, he puts his foot in the dirt. Changes the direction. He finds that small crease. We talked about this already throughout the video. He finds that small crease and lowers his shoulder and leans his body backwards to get that extra yards. Fighting for those contact yards, man. Look at this. Let it run. Plants his foot. Finds that open crease. And he's able to get that 1st down. Short yard situation once again. Yes, he can get those yards. All right, guys. This is an example of what his patient running can do for him in a positive way. We talked about how it can be a curse, but it can also be a gift. Watch his patient running right here and watch what he's able to do when he explodes through this hole right here. All right. Creates the lane, leaps over that defender, gets some extra yards real quick. Let's let it run in slow motion. All right. Patient running. He finds the block, allows his blocks to develop, finds that open hole. Pause. And then he sees this defender coming up, jumps right over his head, gets some extra yards. Let it run one more time. I'm going to let you guys see it for yourself. All right, small crease. Finds the outside, jumps over the defender to get some extra yards. Beautiful play. All right, guys, another example of his perfect vision and being able to find those tight spaces. So let's let this play run real quick and we'll talk about it. All right, got a delayed handoff, a draw situation. Watch how he finds that tight space. All right, delayed handoff. There's really nothing here. Look how tight this space is. Both of these linemen have their legs pretty much touching each other. He still finds that slight crease and still able to find that wide open lane and still get those extra yards. And again, he's falling forward so he can get those extra yards at the contact. So watch it again. All right, you have a draw, a delayed handoff, very short crease, lowers that shoulder and still gets those extra yards. All right, guys, this is another example of him being a pass catcher, a safety blanket for Bryce Young, and what he's able to do to create something out of nothing. So there's nothing there. Jalen Hurts takes the check down. Miles Sanders finds the wide open lane. He puts his foot in the dirt and gets more yards. All right, so let's take a look at it from another angle. Jalen Hurts has his eyes down the field. His first read is not there. He takes the check down. And Miles Sanders is able to get inside to get a little bit more yards than what he was supposed to get. So once he gets the ball right here, he's supposed to be stopped. But he sees that wide open lane on the inside, and he's able to cut it inside and get some extra yards. All right, guys, here's another example of his shiftiness and his quick change of direction. So let's let this play run. You got a receiver in motion. Miles Sanders places his foot, boom, boom, finds the wide open lane. Again, able to create these lanes for himself. When those blocks break down, he's still able to find that slight crease and get those extra yards. So let's take a look at it right here. All this right here is clogged up. You got 58 right here who's daring you to run through that lane right here. So what Miles Sanders does, he gets that handoff. All of this is clogged up. So he changes his direction. Boom. Plants his foot in the ground. Got this linebacker thinking he's coming on the outside, but Miles Sanders changes his direction and goes right on the inside, breaking that arm tackle, getting extra yards at the contact. So let's take another look at it again from this angle. I'm going to let it run. All right, nothing there. Brings this defender to the outside. That's an elite move. Let's take another look at this move right here. He steps on the outside. Boom. Bringing this linebacker down here to play the edge. Opening up that inside lane. Wide open, y'all. Look at this. One more time, man. All right, guys, so there you have it, man. That's our guy, Miles Sanders. I'm super excited for this pickup. I cannot wait to see him in black and blue this year. We talked about his change of direction, his shiftiness, and what he's able to do to create those yards at the contact. He's able to create something out of nothing when needed, but if you block for this guy has a very explosive speed, very elite speed, and he can get those yards, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in this offense. I think we're going to use him in a lot of different ways. We talked about using him in the pass game. We talked about using him through the ground, and I think he's going to be very productive. Now, my expectations stat-wise, I'm expecting somewhere around maybe 300 to 400 through the air. Maybe even somewhere between 800 to 900 rush yards on the ground. I hope he has a 1,000-yard season, but I'm not too pressed if he doesn't have 1,000 yards rushing, because he will be splitting reps with guys like Chuba Hubbard, who we talked about on this channel as well, and he will be splitting reps with guys like Raheem Blackshear. So expect this guy to be somewhere close between maybe 1,000, maybe 900 on the ground, and maybe 300 to 400 through the air. So he's going to be used in a lot of different roles on this offense to open up basically everything for everybody else, and especially in the passing game. So let me know in the comment section, what do you think Miles Sanders is going to bring to the Carolinas? Do you think he will have 1,000 yards on the ground? Was this a good pickup? Was this not a good pickup? What do you guys think in the comment section? Y'all let me know. What are your thoughts on Miles Sanders? Who you guys want to see next? And I will see you guys on the next video. I appreciate you guys for pulling up as always. Make sure you guys hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys on the next video. With that being said, stay true to yourself, keep being you, follow those dreams, turn those dreams into goals, and go get it, fam. Love you guys. Peace. Thanks for tuning in, family. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. What is PrizePicks? PrizePicks is where you can bet as little as to $5 on any sports and get a chance to win 25 times your money. They have NFL, NBA, WNBA, MLB, NASCAR, and plenty of other options to optimize your money. Be sure to use that promo code to double your first deposit of up to $100. and they will match your first deposit. If you need any extra advice, you have myself and my brother/partner, C. Dougie, to help you with full breakdowns and analysis to increase your chances of winning. We have a group that has seen plenty of interesting results since joining. We also meet twice a week on Zoom where we discuss our analysis on each matchup and discuss injury reports and more. We love to pick each other's brains and have fun discussing important games throughout the week. If you want to be a part of it, comment below or DM me on my Instagram at uncle.quan so we can get you up in here, family.